The next time you're at the home improvement store, grab a plunger for this amazing Christmas hack. To start, I'm going to paint the rubber part of the plunger a bronze color. Now I want to start cutting up the old garland. I want to grab 4 to 6 little pieces of the garland and then use some wire cutters to snip the wire right below the clump of branches. In order to attach the branches to the plunger handle, I want to drill some little holes. With all of the holes drilled, I want to start attaching the little bundles of branches. I'm going to add a dab of hot glue to the wire before pushing it into the hole to keep everything secure. I'm going to keep working my way up the handle until all the bunches are secured into the holes. I also want to push one final bunch into the top hole of the handle. Now that the hot glue is all dry, I can fluff out my little tree, move the branches around until I have them how I like them. I'm completely in love with my little tree, and it's the perfect size to pop somewhere I need to fill a little space. I hope this has inspired you to grab a plunger and make your own mini tree as well.
Head to Dollar Tree and pick up cutting mats. Take a hot glue gun and begin rolling the cutting mat on itself into a cone shape and hot glue to secure the shape. Trim the excess cutting mat with scissors to make sure the cone can stand up level on its own. Take the acrylic gems and begin gluing to the circumference from the bottom of the cone upward. Take fairy lights, add batteries to packs, and place into the underside of the cone. There you have it, a cheap way to create your own holiday decor on a budget. I hope this inspired you to try this classy light up Christmas tree project in your home.
You'll want to be on the lookout for lampshades at the local thrift store. I selected all different sized lampshades graduating from small to large. Now I'm removing each lampshade cover to expose the frames. Now I'm stacking all the lampshade frames on top of each other from largest to smallest to decide the order in which I'll be placing them. Selecting some lightweight chain with bendable links, I'm opening the beginning of the chain to create a hooked end using needle nose pliers. I'm hooking the chain to the top inner shade, then gauging the length of the chain needed to hook to the second bottom frame. Once determining the length, I'm opening up the other end of the chain to link the shades together. When I ran out of chain, I checked the local hardware store for more, but since they no longer carried the same chain, I decided to use hog hooks, which are open-ended chain links. Closed chains are definitely easier to work with. Since I'm going for an industrial look, I'm leaving the shades and chains in their natural metal tones, then choosing Christmas ornaments that chime in with my desired look. To my surprise, I am now using the much needed and super handy hog hooks to hang the ornaments, which did the job perfectly thanks to their short size. And you are left with the cutest lampshade Christmas tree that couldn't be easier to make. I love how the various neutral ornament tones tie in with the metal lampshades, or you could hang any colors you'll be decorating with this holiday season. I hope this inspires you to gather up a few lampshades to create a dreamy industrial lampshade Christmas tree of your own.
This holiday project starts with a 1x6 by 8 foot long. Let's get started. We're going to take our first mark at 24 inches. Our next one's going to be at 20. And then our last mark is going to be at 16. We're going to cut each of these marks to give us 3 different lengths of board. First thing we're going to do is find the middle of each board. Go ahead and take a pencil and just mark it down the center. Now it's time to start outlining that Christmas tree. Now, some of you might go a little nuts on this because this Christmas tree is going to be a little bit different. I went with like a Dr. Seuss look. The next thing we're going to do is take a skill saw and cut out along the lines. I know in kindergarten we learned to cut and paint within the lines, but here at Hometalk we get a little rebellious. So if you're outside the lines a little bit, don't worry about it. After you get it cut out, the next step is to sand it so you can get off those pencil marks. Now it's time to bring it inside and we're going to go ahead and paint it. I'm going to do white on the first side here. Now you can use any kind of acrylic paint or a stain, but I wanted to give it some paint just because I wanted to do it with one coat. Now got to be careful, we don't want it to go onto the unpainted edge yet. Once I got that dry and I turn it over, I'm going to paint the other side green. I'll show you why later. We're going to get this all painted up and then we got to turn our attention to the base. This thing is 20 inches wide and we're going to go ahead and stain it with our favorite color. You can paint it also, but I like to give it a stain and dark walnut is my favorite. Besides, I had some sitting out in the garage, so it just came in handy. Once I get it all stained up and ready to go, the next step we're going to do is drill through it because we got to attach our trees to the base. So we're going to drill a simple hole in the back, simple hole right inside the center of the tree, and we're going to start with a little screw. And that's going to go right up there, but not all the way. Take some hot glue next, put it on the base, and we're going to put it right there in the center of the tree. Once that hot glue starts to set up, just go ahead and place that screw and hold it down. Next step is to grab some simple fairy lights. I routed out these holes earlier in the board and drilled the holes so that we're going to put all the fairy lights and just pull them all the way through. We want that fairy light switch to stuck to the base of the wood, so I put some hot glue there and just put it in there. As you can see, it's going to sit flush when it's standing up. Next step after this is we got to wrap our Christmas tree. Again, we're going a little dangerous here. We're not going to go straight across, but we're going to go up and at it with angles. Now, these fairy lights are really long, so watch this. Instead of going straight across, like I said, go at an angle all the way to the top, and when you get to the end, just use a little bit of hot glue to hold it in place. Now it's time to light it up. As you can see, on one side we got it white, and it's so simple because all you got to do is flip it around. And then what that does is that gives you something different to look at. Changes up the decor. I hope this inspired you to build your own 3 trees Christmas decor. This is no ordinary pallet project. What we're going to do, the first step, is we got to pull all these boards off. They're actually easier than it looks. All you got to do is give a little bit of pressure with a crowbar and these nails pop right out. We want to pull out the big ones and the small boards. First step though, after that, is to get 2 long 1x3 6-foot long boards. We're going to put these in an L pattern, but we need to put some glue down. That is perfect. It actually holds boards together better than nails. Once we get that glue down, we're going to put this in an L shape just like that, and then we're going to use a few nails to hold it in place. I use 1.5-inch nails. They're perfect and they go in just right. Once we get that all glued together, we're going to mark 12 inches from the bottom. That's going to be our starting place for our first board. Now I'm going to start with a wider board right here. We're going to set this across, and then we're going to alternate to a smaller board. Again, going after that to a wider board, from wide, small, alternating all the way up. Now we're going to lay all these across, but these are not cut to the size we want. Once we get these laid out, what we want to do is mark at the base the 24 inches. That is going to be our first cut, but we're going to lay a straight board across at an angle from the 24 inches up to the top, and then we're going to mark it all the way across. What this does is this gives us a perfect angle to make our pallet Christmas tree. Once we get it marked out, we're going to put it over to 22.5 degrees, which happens to follow the marks all the way up. Once we cut these, we're going to cut that first one. Now remember, every cut we do, we need to make a duplicate because we're going to do 2 sides of the tree. Starting back at the bottom one again, we're going to use the brad nails and put it into place. Doesn't take much, just put them in there. Now we need to space it. I use my pencil as a spacer and it worked perfect. We don't want to just bunch them up right next to each other. Once we get the first row done, we need to flip it over to make it easy. Take that, it's really light because that pallet wood is not that heavy, and we're going to lay it across the table. Again, I'm going to use a clamp on this side just to hold it in place, and then we're going to line up the boards with the first set we put in. This goes much faster on the second row than the first row because the first row is what is like our template and holds it in place. Once we get these all brad nailed down just like we did with the first ones, we are going to take a drill bit and randomly just put drill bits and holes all across the pallet tree. Once we get these random holes just put all inside there, we're going to grab us some white or colored lights. It's a preference. Make sure you get the ones that can plug in from the back though, just in case you run out of room. Take those lights and you're going to staple them down. Now be careful with the staples. You want to make sure that you don't go through the wires. Now remember those holes that we drilled? Stick the light right through there. And again, use the staples to hold them in place. We're going to go up and around and all around our pallet Christmas tree. Now we're going to put it in place on that boring corner in the house, and look at this. We're going to light it up and watch just that magic come alive. Wasn't it great to be able to upcycle some pallets and make it into a Christmas tree and turn that boring corner into a work of art? I hope you enjoyed this pallet Christmas tree as much as we did.
To begin my project, I took this piece of stained wood that I just had kicking around in my craft pile, and then I came in with the Décor Enchanted line of paints. So this black paint that I'm putting on here is the base coat. And then I came in with the Décor Enchanted in green. So this is the stunning iridescent top coat that we're going to paint on. and this is done with the gold. So in the same line, just a different color. Then I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to take these glass beads that I picked up at my local dollar store, and I'm going to begin making a Christmas tree shape. So I'm just going to line them up, starting with the larger row at the bottom and just working my way up the top. I'm placing them in spots here, and then I'm going to make sure I like the shape and everything before I glue them down. I found this cute little plastic snowflake in my Christmas craft collection, and that is what I'm going to use for my star. I'm just using regular hot glue to glue the glass beads down, and then making sure I pull away any hairs from the glue gun. And then I'm going to glue my plastic snowflake in the top as well with some hot glue. For the base of my tree, I have these little wood log slices, and they just come in a little pack from my dollar store. And I'm going to take a pair of kitchen shears, and I'm just going to cut them right in half. And then I'm going to place them on the bottom, sticking up like a 3D effect, almost like a realistic looking tree stump. So this is what I'm using for the base. Once I have that glued down, I thought that the whole project needed just a little bit more embellishment, something just to really make it stand out a little bit more and jazz it up. So I came in with some Mod Podge and some gold foil, and I just did like a gold leafing foil technique just around the edges to create a nice, classy and elegant border. And this just kind of gives my project a little more glam, because I felt like it needed just a little something extra just to glam it up in time for Christmas. So I let that set, and then I brushed away the excess. Then to add just the icing on the cake, I came in with this shimmer. So this is from the Enchanted line as well from Decor, and this is just like a top coat that you could put on top of things just to give it that little shimmer and shine. So it's like clear, but then when it catches the light, you'll just see little tiny flecks of sparkle. So it's really nice because it's not quite a sparkle, it's just a shimmer. And these are my finished projects here. So you can see the one I did here with the green iridescent and then the gold as well. On the green iridescent, I decided to go with rose gold leafing instead of the gold. I just thought it complemented the green iridescent better. And I'm so happy with how this project turned out. I hope this inspires you to get creative this Christmas and craft something unique for your home.
You'll never guess what I'm going to make from Q-tips and tin foil. So the first thing you do is take a piece of foil, can be any size you like, and I have already scrunched it up so it's a little bit crumpled looking, and we're going to make it into something that resembles a Christmas tree. And then taking the other piece, I'm going to wrap it around it. Cut the top off and cut off the excess on the bottom until it looks something like that. So you're making a cone shape. And now, taking some scissors, I'm going to cut the tops off these Q-tips. Now, using a hot glue gun, I'm going to apply some glue to the bottom of the tree and start to stick these little tips in place. Okay, the glue sets up really fast. You could use a tacky glue or a gel. I have tried that, but it takes a while for that to dry, so the Q-tips kind of slid off. So I found this was the best way to do it. Now you can carry on going all the way round, but I intend to just show one side of these. So my plan now is to put some more hot glue down and use cotton wool to fill in the back so that if any of it is seen, it looks a little bit snowy too. So I've made my cone exactly as I did before, and now I'm going to cut all these bits off this mitten. So using my hot glue again, apply some glue to the foil and start adding these little green tufts. Got this in the dollar store. They do come in different colours. I like this green one though. Keep going all the way up until it looks like that. And here are my finished trees. Put some little stars on the top, surrounded them with snow, I think they look really effective. Very happy with them. I hope you've enjoyed this video and you are inspired to have a go. Thank you for watching Home Talk. I'll see you next time.